Hi, I'm Steve Kirtler, the Product Safety Manager at Electrical Safety First, and I'm going to be talking about the UK 13 amp 3-pin plug. So we know that substandard and counterfeit electrical plugs and chargers can be deadly. So Electrical Safety First has developed a plug checker that allows you to quickly check the dimensions of a plug or a charger or any other type of device that plugs into the UK socket to ensure it meets the safety requirements. So it's a very easy tool to use just to check initially that the plug meets the requirements for the dimensions that are necessary to fit into the socket, and that's a very good indication of whether or not the plug has been tested, and also that the appliance that the plug is fitted to has been tested. If it's found that the dimensions are not correct, it's a very good indication that the appliance itself has also not gone through any testing process. So just to give you an example of how the plug checker is used, using an approved compliant plug that we know meets the safety requirements. The first check is to insert the plug into the plug checker. The pin should move smoothly down into the openings in the checker. If it doesn't, that means the alignment of the pins is incorrect, so that's a problem. If it does slide down easily, you then need to ensure that the green line on the checker is fully covered. That will ensure that the pins are adequately distanced and spaced away from the outer edge of the plug, and that the plug or plug-in device does not go any further than the red line on the outside of the checker. The checker can also check the length of the pins, so there's the gauge for the earth pin, and there's also a gauge for the live pins. And then lastly, if the plug or the device is clearly oversized in comparison to the normal dimensions of a plug, the side of the gauge will measure that there is sufficient clearance between the larger part of the device and the engagement surface of the plug section to ensure that there'll be adequate clearance from anything like switches on the socket outlet. So to show you some examples of plugs that do not meet the dimensional requirements and how they fail the plug checker, here's the cloverleaf plug that I mentioned earlier. The pins do fit into the gauge smoothly, so in terms of their positioning, that's fine, but we can see that the plug is too small and it's not covering up the green line. It's not exceeding the red line, so it's not too big, but we know that the problem with this type of plug is that it's too small. We can then check the length of the plug pins, and we can see that the earth is clearly too short, and that can cause problems with connection to the earth terminal in the socket outlet, and also that the live pins are too short, and therefore again there may be connection problems in the socket. Just to show another example of a device that fails the plug checker, fitting the pins into the openings. In this situation, the openings do not allow the checker to fully be inserted over the pins, so the alignment of the pins is incorrect, and we can also see that the device exceeds the red line, so it's too large and may interfere with something on the socket outlet. So these are two examples of where plug-in devices and plugs do not meet the dimensional requirements of the plug checker and therefore are unsafe for connection into the UK socket outlet. For more information about the Electrical Safety First plug checker and how to obtain one, please visit the website at electricalsafetyfirst.org.uk.